Good evening. Welcome to the Reuben Hoare Library Trustees meeting, May 3rd. I'm going to start off, as we always do, with any public participation, and as there is no one gathered in our audience, we will move quickly on to correspondence. Sam, do we have anything
Yes.
correspondence-wise?
The Littleton Girl Scout Troop 66292, they are doing a service project where they want to send care packages to active duty servicemen and women serving overseas. So they would like permission to put a drop box at our location so that people can donate for this cause.
Okay. Any objections to a drop box that's sponsored by the Girl Scouts?
What are they collecting?
Personal care products like travel-sized toiletries, baby wipes, lip balm, etc., food and snacks like gum, protein bars, powdered drinks, and entertainment items like books, movies, puzzle books, etc.
Books?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet you we can find some to put in that box.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hearing no objections, I think it's fair to just go ahead and let them know that that's fine. Katie, you had a correspondence as well about registering.
I think that's going to be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When they'll-
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on there as that, because I think we had talked about it being a
Right.
correspondence. Okay. Any other correspondence? No. All right. Looking at the April 5th minutes. Any edits needed to the minutes or additions?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of April 5th.
Motion's been made to accept the minutes. Do I hear a second?
the motion.
Second from Chris. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Very good. Okay. Thank you, Henry, again for your work on those. Treasurer's report. David, do we have anything new and interesting?
I have some, yes. Okay, we have in the MMDT fund, we have $4,482.21.
Mm-hmm.
And in the building fund, we have $412,992.39.
Great.
And it's too early in the month for the Bartholomew to have come through.
Sure. Okay.
It hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah. All right then.
And that's the treasurer's report.
Okay. Very good. The most recent Friends meeting, Sam, can you give us an update?
Yeah, sure. So they made $15,092.39 at the mini golf event and $3,239.24 in donations. So they transferred a total of $18,331.63 towards the building fund.
Great.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
What a great night it was, too. So much fun.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
The book sale is going to be May 10th, 11th, and 12th. They are planning a yard sale on June 16th.
All right, yep.
They have a new web site, or same website, new way to get there, rhlfriends.org. They're going to hold a staff appreciation luncheon for the library staff on May 31st. And they are also going to participate in Third Thursday this summer, which starts in the third week of this month. That was it.
Just to go on what you said about the book sale, I think we all have been in receipt of a sign-up to help out with the book sale. I encourage all of us to try to find even just a 2-hour block sometime during the book sale to help out. All right.
Clean up
Excellent.
at the end.
Excellent. That's That's probably where they need the most help anyhow. All right,
12.
Chris, do we have a update from the fundraising committee?
You know what, I was not able to make the last
Oh, that's right.
fundraising committee meeting. So
Mark
somebody
went.
else went instead of me. Yeah, so I
And
don't
Mark
have an
is
update.
in Switzerland, so we don't have, were you also there?
I was, and I'm looking for what I
I know
wrote.
they were doing some wrap-up, critique of the mini
Right.
golf event.
Mostly they talked about the mini golf event. They talked about possibilities for future fundraising events, but they would probably hold off until October to do anything.
Sure,
Another
okay.
big event.
Yeah.
They would like to do something small, maybe in late August, similar to like this year when they did the read past my bedtime thing.
Yeah.
So they want to do something similar to that. Also, they were interested in, when we do our annual fund drive letter, which is later in the agenda, doing something that, what was it? Hopkinton, what they did was 1,000 homes. They got 1,000 homes to agree to pay $1,000 each. And basically it was a four-year thing, $250 a year. And so they would like to do something similar in Littleton.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 1,000 homes, maybe 500 homes, but they wanted us to include that.
Yeah,
in the-
I know that in the 2010 census for Littleton, there were 3,341 households.
Right.
So 1,000 of that would be about, what, 27, 28%? And perhaps that's doable when you consider that, what, 78% of Littleton residents hold library cards?
Right.
I think it's a goal worth reaching toward. And to structure it, as you said, perhaps like they did, where it's just an installment of $250 over the course of 4
4
years. Yeah, interesting. So, what was the thought about that? They're just beginning to percolate the idea.
Well, they wanted, Mark suggested that we put it in our annual fund drive letter.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, great. All right, and we'll get to that when we get to that. Any other highlights? All right then. So trustee updates, any updates? David, Demetra, Chris, Katie?
I have nothing.
No update.
Fire.
I did go up to Salisbury and I
Yeah.
had a nice talk with the director up there. I've spoken with her on the phone before, and she is, Terry Curios is her name, and she just happened to have time when I was there, and I checked out their gorgeous library, and she talked to me about the process and shared some materials with me. She was super helpful. And she also said that she'd be willing to come to Littleton to be on TV, on LCTV, and talk to the public about
Oh, interesting, yeah.
what this has meant to their community.
Would you see that as being structured where a trustee would have sort of an open conversation interview style?
Yeah, an interview, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that is on the agenda, so I'll get
Oh,
to that
okay.
later.
All right, very good.
But yeah, she's lovely and she's really helpful, and everybody should go check out that library. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is
I mean,
lovely.
the new ones are also amazing, but this
Right.
one with the fireplace
Yeah.
and it's the seniors really love this library because
Mm.
there's a lot of seniors in Salisbury now,
Mhm.
and so the library gets the materials that they want, and all these great newspapers are stacked around the fireplace,
Right.
and they just park themselves.
Right.
Very nice.
Well, and we probably, as a community where there are people who would like to stay and want to, what's it called, age in place, we could probably learn a lot from Salisbury as to how they were able to, come up with ideas to be senior friendly, for lack of a better phrase, and then bring those to our seniors and say, well, what would you think about these things?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important that we all remind ourselves as well that the design that we have can be completely changed.
Even the
I mean,
architect.
it needs to stand. It needs to stay at 23,000 square feet. I mean, give or take a little
Mhm.
tiny bit. But if people don't like the looks of it or think that it doesn't have enough of the amenities that other libraries do, we have license to change it. We don't just stick to that exact plan, which is great.
Yeah. But another thing that really struck me, they have this enormous children's room. But it just really struck me how now our children's room, the view is so obstructed with those bookcases that it feels like, that's probably another safety concern. But, it's much more noticeable when you go from an old one to a new children's room.
Right. Right.
Just commenting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for going, and thank you for getting these materials, which also can, we don't need to keep reinventing the wheel. We can certainly draw on other people's good ideas for promoting our project.
I've just been doing some book stuff, not necessarily library stuff, but I've been in 5th grade, I'm going to be in 2nd grade tomorrow, and then 3rd and 4th later on in the month, just talking about books and writing with kids. So just promoting books and writing and reading and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Will you be in all the 2nd grade classes?
I will talk to all of the 2nd graders, but in pods of 2 classrooms each, so 3 sessions, two groups each, so in the not in the library, the media center, I believe.
I'll let my daughter know.
Yeah.
All right then, Sam, can you give us your director's report?
Sure. So Linda Schreiber has resigned as reference librarian. Her last day will be June 29th, 2018. We're all going to miss her. She was a great addition to the library. So my plan isn't to replace her exactly. With the hours that were budgeted for Linda in FY19, I plan to take the children's librarian position back up to 35 hours. Right now she's at 30.5 for the past, 3 years that I've been here. That's what we've been trying to do
Yeah.
in the mission statement, in the mission budget. But so this will allow us to do that without that. I also plan to promote someone on staff to senior librarian, and that would be a current staff member. And I'll also create a new 6-hour library assistant position, and also probably give someone else extra hours with what's left. Work is underway in the stairwell to replace the windows. That required us to close off the stairwell, and for the past, it started yesterday, today, and it's supposed to end tomorrow. I just checked on it. The windows are in. They just need to do the trim. So that was part of the new roof project, and for some reason it got paused, I guess because of winter, and now they're finishing it.
Because
Only
winter was endless, that's why.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was supposed to actually be done in the beginning of April, and just
It was still snowing in April.
right. The Elephant and Piggy program went very well. Over
Wow.
250 people attended.
I had a piggy. My
Yeah.
daughter was one of the piggies.
Yeah.
Where, was it in the multipurpose room?
Yes.
Did people come in shifts?
It was all day thing. So.
Wow, that is a lot of people.
Yes, come on in.
I'm Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Just come right up to the table here with us. Yeah, sure.
I tried to get in the other way, but it's too left.
Oh, no, oh, sorry.
I think Kelly and I communicated online.
Yeah.
And we were talking about handicap accessibility and library work and renovation versus a new building. And she pointed out that too often the ADA compliance is Band-Aid solutions, especially in New England with the old buildings. So anyway, I suggested that she come to the meeting and talk with us and share her concerns.
We'll finish up with Sam's report, and then Wayne, we can open a conversation about that.
Okay. Several library staff members are taking part in a Fitbit challenge being put on by the town. It's going to start a week from Monday, and we're competing against other town departments to see who can get the most steps.
Trustees be part of the
I don't know.
challenge?
Somebody,
Are we,
I don't know. I can ask. What's today, the 4th?
I can always use an incentive
Third.
to,
Tomorrow's the last day to register, so I'll ask them.
all right, let me know.
All right. And yeah, so the grand prize is $1,000 for the winning group to do something healthy. So
Nice.
some examples are we could get a CSA and they'll hire a nutritionist to show us what we could do with the vegetables that we get from that.
So the already super healthy people get extra healthy.
Right.
While the ones who did not win
Right.
just keep going down. All right. Just so we're clear, we're rewarding the already healthy people with more healthiness.
That's it.
All right, fun. Do you have many people?
I'm on it, Helen's on it, Jean's on it, Jenna's on it, Diane's on it. Is that it? I think that's it.
That sounds like a good team.
Yeah.
And you all have to already own your own Fitbits.
No, if we didn't have one, they gave us one.
Really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
But it's through your insurance, it's through Blue Cross and
Yeah.
Blue Shield.
Through your insurance, the town insurance.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, that's nice.
So you have to be an insurance person, like.
Nice.
So they probably won't
Yeah.
allow trustees to join
You
your
have Blue
team.
Cross and Blue Shield?
No, but I have my own Fitbit.
Oh, wow.
You already have the equipment.
I already have the equipment.
Yeah.
Let me know. If not, it's fine. I can just like live vicariously through you guys.
I'll just imagine myself stepping as you step.
I can report in and like just not have my steps count.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and,
Fun.
and then last night I attended the town hall study committee and we discussed options for the entire town hall. And the Park and Rec discussed their plans to build a larger facility at Long Lake. There wasn't a quorum, so nothing was decided.
Okay. But
And
different creative ideas are coming out.
different creative ideas were
Okay.
discussed. As far as the budget goes, we've spent everything in books. Trust we're working through pretty quickly. And then we have until the end of June to finish about $6,000, $6,105, which we can do very easily. And then, in salaries, we have about 20% of our budgeted salary left, which is enough for the next 2 months.
Yeah. Okay, and then the rest are stats.
Correct.
How's Caleb Church doing?
So he hasn't been there in a month.
Oh, okay.
But we think we had asked him to do it in the summer too. So I
Okay.
think he stopped for sports.
Oh, sure.
And then he's gonna restart once school is over.
Yeah. Are you his?
Yeah,
Contact,
we're all
primarily?
sort of
You all
we all
are.
sort of interact with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing pretty well. He's pretty far along in his hours. It's
Great.
just he's not quite there yet.
Yeah,
But he
okay.
has until summer anyway. So
Right. Okay. Very good.
and when he comes in, he does a great job.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. All right. Thank you, Sam.
Yep.
All right. So, for the record, we do have a secretary who wants to make sure that he knows everyone who's here. So, if you wouldn't mind giving him your name and spelling it if it's a name that needs to be spelled.
It's Kelly, Kelli.
Okay. Is that
Carter.
your first name, or Carter, okay. Carter.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Okay. And you live here in town?
Yes.
Okay. What street are you on?
I'm in the new development, the Boxwood Drive.
Okay, so from Boxwood Drive. Okay, very good. So you are here on Katie's invitation, and we are interested in hearing what you have to share with us.
And I apologize that the door was locked.
Yeah, it was
That's,
locked.
it's, I'm not sure what to do about that.
Well, I've come to this building a few times, and the doors have been locked, so I've had to go home.
Oh,
And so, you know, when somebody is having something up on the second floor or third floor, make sure the handicap doors are unlocked.
These are coming in from the parking lot?
Yeah, from the back parking lot.
Yeah.
Who
So
do
the
we-
town hall entrance,
That one was locked
that
too.
was locked, yeah. Yeah.
who do
And
we
I got
talk-
into when you're facing the building, the left side.
Park and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, through the park and rec? Okay, okay.
Who did we talk to about that?
Probably Keith.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the building should be open if there are things happening
Right.
in other parts of the building, right? I mean, the library's open.
Yeah.
It,
And that's
I mean,
how
it's always been it's a problem for us too, but if, it shouldn't be.
Okay, all right. Sam, will you follow up with Keith about that? Thank you. Okay, so that was barrier number one.
Right.
Which you have, you are here now, which is a good thing. I'm glad you didn't leave.
Well,
So-
I've been in some meetings before, so I kind of knew how to crawl my way through the building, on the second floor, to get to the library and then ask them where the meeting was, so, and they looked it up for me.
Yeah.
And, but, if I had never been here before, I would have left.
Right.
Yeah.
I would have just left,
Right.
so. And so the doors are important.
Yes, the doors are important.
I noticed your elevator, if you're going to redo the building, those two are the main elevators, is that right? I noticed they're really small.
They're
and
not ADA compliant.
Pardon me?
They're not ADA
They're not,
compliant.
okay.
No, they're not. You have to be able to take a gurney.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Okay? But this is,
Yeah.
those have been there since this building was renovated previously.
Yeah,
So I imagine if any renovation would be done, those would be the first things that get changed.
yeah, because you have to take somebody out, whoever gets sick here, an employee or
There
whatever.
wouldn't be any point to trying to do something about it now if there's going to be a major change in the building, which is contemplated. If there's going to be a major change, it would be crazy to try and change it now and then maybe have to tear it down because it doesn't fit with everything else.
Right. And,
Yeah, that has to get done.
And yet, the ADA was passed in 1996,
yeah,
and it's 2018.
right, and we're still fighting.
Yeah, and it's part, and I agree, it's particularly complex in New England, where there's this lean toward, history, and
No, it's
That's
not
no-
really that. It's really about contractors and developers who don't want to spend the money. It's not about the New England charm, because you can do a lot with New England charm and all the beautiful buildings you have. And you can make them,
Yes.
Usable,
Right.
but they just,
will cost money.
right. And so, and people like to charge a lot for that, so, and so they don't want to put them in.
Right.
And they cut any corner they can find
Right.
legally to get away with not doing it, and then nobody uses it.
Well, and there have been issues in town for businesses that are considered, welcoming and inviting to the public, which are not ADA compliant. And,
Right.
and I know that there have been times where that's come up with the building inspector, and there have been times where there's a nudge, can you fix this? And as far as,
No, yeah, they won't.
it's hard, I think it's hard for people to both be understanding of people's financial plights and also then say, but there's this law on the books that you need to comply with. So it is an ongoing struggle, but it shouldn't be an ongoing struggle for people who would like access.
Right.
It should really be, in my estimation, borne by those people who are inviting you. Hey, want to come to my
Right. If you-
restaurant?
If you want,
I'm
I
gonna-
mean, as a customer, and I have lots of money to spend wherever I'm going, it hurts. They're eliminating an entire population of people coming into their business,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and.
Have you had experiences in our library? Have you come to our library and found that that's a challenge as well?
No, I haven't. To be honest, right after I moved here, I got really sick.
Oh.
So I'm just now getting out and about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been, but I have gone to a few places in town, and of course the new shopping centers are great, that are built, and I like those.
Yeah.
And, but even like where I live, it's ADA compliant, but there's major obstacles in the place for people in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
and they're not willing to adjust them because they're just not willing to do it, and because they did it according to the law, and that's all that mattered to them.
Right.
And
Right. Well, we go back to, what was it, a year ago where you and I met? So Sam and I met with a woman from the Center for Human Design, is that what it was called? And it was not just about making sure that things are ADA compliant. It was even like a more enhanced notion of how do we make a space be intuitive as to flow and clear signage that's not necessarily in English. You could have signage which is symbolic, just really sort of,
Things like lighting, even pushing the bathroom doors open, they were too.
Oh, yeah, that's a big thing, bathroom doors.
Yeah, they were too heavy, I think, and then
Yes.
even when you got in there, I wasn't sure if there was enough space.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I think, I mean, certainly our intention would be with the new space is to not only, yes, we have to have it ADA compliant, but to have the enhanced functionality for people who,
We're going to use it all
who
the
is,
time.
right, and not only the idea of, oh, well, we have to think about just wheelchairs, because I think a lot of people, when they think ADA, they think wheelchair, right?
Right.
But this woman was saying, it's not just that. It has to do with
yeah.
all these other things that people
Yes.
just, it doesn't come to their
Right,
immediate
they don't think
attention.
about it.
Right.
you
Well,
know.
Jenna, when we get to that point, we really need somebody like Kelly
Yes.
on the building committee.
Absolutely.
I don't know,
I usually bring cookies, so if you'd like a
I'm-
cookie,
I
that's
need-
an
I need
incentive.
gluten-free cookies.
We can make those too. We do need people from the community to help us get a better understanding. And this woman was lovely from the center, but she also, was walking on 2 feet.
Well,
so-
I can walk too. I can walk, I walk around my house, and if something's really short distance, or if I'm not going to sit for a long time,
Right.
I can go in and do it.
Yep.
Like if I want to grab something from a small store, I go in and grab it and I'm gone.
Yeah. Yep.
But if I have to wander around the store or stand for a while, forget it. I'm going to pass out. So I have to use my chair.
Yep.
And so not everybody is in a wheelchair full time, There's just a particular population that are, okay? And they do need extra care when you design the bathrooms.
Right.
So, because they cannot put any weight down on their feet. They, they absolutely need to be able to transfer, but then there's people like me who are really the majority of people who use wheelchairs, where we can walk short distances. And so sometimes if something's smaller, if an entrance is real close and we just want to go in for one little thing, then that's great. But if we've got this big heavy door to get through,
Yeah.
it's quite an obstacle.
Yeah.
So they're just, you have to remember that the majority don't use them full time. So sometimes they're going to be showing up, walking,
Right. Yep.
And so you may see them one day in a wheelchair because they're having a bad day. And another day, they're going to be doing great,
Right.
and they're going to be walking.
Yeah.
So you have to think about, when you design whatever you're going to design, that has both, so for those people.
Yeah.
Also, here, when I came, there was no chair here, which was nice. And because what's really hard is when you come to a table and you got to try to move these
Yes.
chairs out of the
Yes.
way.
Yep. Yeah.
So, in a library, and all the pictures of all the new libraries that I saw, there was not one open space at a table for a wheelchair.
Well, I
Only
know that-
on the ends.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that sometimes I've been to places where there'll be a little symbol
Right,
on the table and there's no chair.
right.
I take that as my invitation not to go find a chair and put it
Put it
there and
there,
sit
right,
there.
right.
And also to remind me that if I see someone come in a wheelchair, that I can, if I'm sitting across, can invite them to sit with me, or I can
Right.
say, this is the table, I believe, if you'd like to stay, which is most
Well,
accommodating.
I think the point is that chairs should easily be moved. Not so much designating you have to sit here.
Sure, yeah.
The person may want to sit wherever they want with their friends.
Right.
But make the chairs easily movable so that their friend can, pull the chair away.
Yes, yeah.
And
Right.
that way.
And we would very much benefit from those sorts of insights. Like,
Right.
maybe the chairs should weigh 50 pounds, maybe they
Right.
should be
I
lightweight
can't
and on
move this one
wheels.
behind me, and I know it's a lighter weight chair, but
Yeah.
there's nothing on the bottom of the chair to make it slide.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And that
And-
is hard.
And for folks who are not,
Frail, who are frail, and they can't
Who are
move
frail.
the chair. Right.
For
Frail's
the
the,
good word.
frail's the term.
yes, frail.
You know.
So for people who, right, upper body strength is not
Right.
such that this is easy, it should be easy.
Right, it
So,
should be
and those
easy.
are the sorts of things that this woman was pointing out for us as well, is that there are things that I would just never think of.
Right.
Because I've never lived
Because you're
that
not struggling.
experience.
Right.
but we should know.
Yes.
So we will invite you to help us if
Okay.
you're willing to help us.
Okay.
We would certainly appreciate your insights, and if you have, awareness of other resources that
Okay.
could be helpful to us, we would certainly be interested in knowing what those are.
Okay. I just started, tapping into some of the ADA stuff that I found, about, and the conflicts that are involved in it, so. But mostly, I used to be a case manager for elders, and I used to work in the Worcester area a long time ago.
Right.
And so I've seen, and I learned along the way, a lot of advocacy that goes along with getting people, ramps for their homes and things like that. So, and I never thought I'd be there, but here I am, 20 years later. And you never know. It could happen to you tomorrow, so.
It's true.
And so you want to make sure that whatever you're designing, well, if that happens to me, I want to be able to go there. So,
There is at least one, maybe two presentations by the architect, with a design for a new building, which we have a grant for, and it's, it's planned. And that might be interesting to you to see him describe the layout and what he's considered and all those kinds of things. Ultimately, we may not use that design, we may not use the architect, but I thought, when I heard him speak, I felt like he did a good job of talking about a building being accessible to everyone, and putting, like computer resources at the end of the book aisles, so you don't have to, truck all around. But, I'd be interested to see what you thought of that kind of thing, that presentation.
well, I think if the aisles are wide enough so that someone can turn around in an aisle, because what I've understood about the way most of the libraries are designed to be ADA just compliant and not preferred is they're literally just this
Yeah.
big, and you have to go one way, and that's it. So you can't get a better look. And some people, one side is better than the other, and then they'd have to turn around and back up and get, So
Yep.
turning around would be great, or either having round. Some libraries have round
Open
instead
space,
of
yeah.
the traditional
Yeah.
ones. They have round ones.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the children's, you can't turn around in those things in the aisles.
There wasn't enough space to.
No.
In some libraries I've seen where they can actually turn it, although it does upset other people who are still trying to look on that. You have to be kind when you're using those, So, but, yeah, I come from Arizona, and everything is preferred out there. They make everything very accessible out there.
Oh.
I've never had any problems out there, ever. Everything is built for this in mind, because they cater to tourists and elder, they want all the snowbirds to go out there, and so they have it, and there's never any problems with parking, and they don't put snow in the handicap spots. And that's one of my big complaints, because they think it's a place they can put snow, the plow drivers do.
That's what those white lines mean. Put snow here.
Right, and yeah. So,
Well, we would very much appreciate any help that you're willing to give us. and
Okay.
share your insights and your experiences. That would benefit.
well, I'll do
all
as
of
much
us.
as I can.
Sure.
I am physically, pretty ill, so I do the best I can.
Yeah.
So if I can't make it to one meeting, or,
Absolutely. And certainly, when accepting of help, we would accept help as is convenient for the
Okay.
helper.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you find yourself in the library and you notice things that aren't right or we could improve,
Yeah.
let us know.
Okay. I know one thing is hard for some people, and now some people use motorized, chairs, and they have no problems on carpeting, okay, because they can go anywhere, But then there's people that use manual chairs, and these wheels, there's all different types of tires on the wheels. Some do well on different types of carpeting, and some don't. And mine is a little bit higher end, but the standard that most people get,
they're smooth, aren't they?
they're not very good. They don't have a lot of traction on there, okay? And the chairs are very heavy, so getting on a carpet pad that's just a little too deep, they're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
And so it's going to be extremely hard for them, and they'll just give up. They won't come back. And I can understand why you want padded carpeting for like your employees' workspace, because they're there all the time standing.
Right.
So you do want it in that area, unless, you're going to have somebody, but at least make a space in that area for somebody if you hire somebody with disabilities, and so that, because I know it's hard to stand on those cement floors, it really is 8 hours a day. So I'm kind of like, well, I understand your plight, but you have to understand ours too. So you have to kind of find some happy medium,
Yes.
and so that, because I noticed coming across the library tonight, it was a little tough,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
So it's little things, the designers, and the other thing is contractors. They get these plans, right? But they have their own idea how they're gonna really make it, okay? They get plans and they'll think, yeah, well, this'll be okay. And that's not, you have to like follow them through every single process. And because a little lip on the door and a doorway can just be a nightmare. I have a lip from the garage to my building. I can get out because the lip is not as high on the inside of the building to leave it.
Yeah.
But for me to come from my garage space to back into the building is a nightmare. I can't. I have to actually get out of my chair and push it over. And they refuse to fix it. So to avoid those kinds of contractor mistakes.
What is the lip made out of? Metal? Wood? Because
uh,
I'm ready to go over with a sledgehammer and knock it down.
I
for
know.
you.
I don't know if it's, what is that made out of? I'm not even sure if it's like one piece, I don't know if it's marble, how some, because those are pretty sturdy, and those last.
Sledgehammers are pretty
You know.
strong things, though. Well, and here's the thing, if you were an employee and you needed accommodations would be made.
Right, exactly.
Because we have a Commission Against Disabilities in Massachusetts. However, we need to be progressively thinking about how do we make it so streamlined for everyone that we
Right.
don't have to have these
There's any
moments
problems, right,
of thinking
exactly.
about lips and about tires slipping on
Right.
thick carpeting or not being able to move.
Right.
So
Those are the things.
those are the things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at, when I worked at All America, that was a wonderful building to work in. I was so impressed that I don't think they had anybody sue them about anything, or, because any accommodation you needed, they gave you, except for working at home. But other than that,
Except
that's
for
only
my
my
2-hour nap in the middle of the day. They didn't want to accommodate that.
Oh, well, you could have a split shift, there
Right.
you go. So they actually did accommodate you really well.
Right.
And they would have ergonomical designers come in, and they would just evaluate you.
Yep.
And it was individual.
Wow.
So everybody's workspace was adjustable. You could move the desk up, you could move it lower, because everybody's a different size, and there's nothing worse than being really tall and, or being really short and,
Sure,
like
yeah.
this, because it's not healthy. And so they have adjustable workspaces.
Right.
So that's really important when you're redesigning, if you're gonna have adjustable workspaces, adjustable little cubes for, the customers that come into the library. You have, little privacy cubes, those, just a little button that you push that raises and lowers the table would make a world of difference to people, and
Are those all part of this preferred
yes.
thing?
because-
Is carpet-free also part of that?
Well, I'm not really sure on the ADA about carpeting. I
Uh-huh.
know that most people try to accommodate because they do want customers coming, and if you have crappy carpeting, they're not gonna show up, And it really comes down to, do you want this population to visit your building? If you don't, then you're just gonna do ADA compliant, and that's it. Okay? If you want this population to come, then you do the preferred.
Well, and quite
And-
frankly, there are playgrounds in the area that are absolutely ADA compliant, and people go there intentionally. So theoretically, we could be a library that is known for it being
Right.
available to everyone, not
Exactly.
just to Littleton residents.
Oh, yeah,
though-
because we have a whole network online that says, where can we go?
Oh,
You know?
right.
You've got your online group that says, this
Right.
is manageable, this is not manageable.
Right.
Well, we would like to be in the manageable category.
Right. So you want to be known for that, because
Yeah.
then, I looked at, have you seen Acton's library? I want to go over there so bad, because I looked at Acton's library, and it looked really awesome.
Yeah.
So, because they just redid all theirs, and they used a historical building to do it.
Right.
So,
Right, yeah.
I'm really
It's
excited
beautiful.
and want to
It's
go
lovely,
see
yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
and see how ADA, see how they did all the ADA.
Yeah.
So, then I can report back.
So you're just recently to Littleton?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get your library card yet?
No, I actually haven't.
Well, that's something that we can actually provide.
Okay.
Not right at this
And-
moment, but.
So, yeah, I used to live in Holden,
Mhm.
and actually their building was accessible. So, it was a little steep, but they did have handrails to get you in, but still, some people found that too much,
Mhm.
So, the big problem in Holden is there's not enough parking for the library.
Oh.
And also, apparently, the Rutland Library was pretty run down, so people from Rutland was going to the Holden Library for a long time, and then Rutland finally did their library.
Oh.
And that took a little bit of the load off of Holden's, so it wasn't so crazy, because they were parking in the town and the senior center, and it's crazy,
People from Rutland just invading Holden.
Well, all the Wachusett towns, all the 5 towns, so, and, but, they have a beautiful historic building, that they've
Oh.
redone, and it's gorgeous.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
And they did a pretty good job. So I've never had any issues there. The doors have always worked. I've never not been able to get into the building. They keep that, door working all the time. And what's key also is somebody to check the doors every day to see if they're working.
Mhm.
Because that is the biggest complaint that we have, is you didn't check the doors today, did you? I can't, even my landlord, they don't check. And I've been stuck outside and had to wait for somebody to open the door for me because I couldn't get in the building. And because the automatic doors don't work. And the doors are way too heavy. I cannot open them on my own. So, and bathroom doors, okay, that's another nightmare for people. You know those automatic swing doors that close? That's like the worst idea ever. It's the worst. Because, yeah, you want it to keep closed so the odors or whatever don't drift out in the hallway, but maybe a little sign like saying, please close the door when you leave,
Right.
instead, and have just a regular door. Because somebody in a wheelchair can certainly open a regular door.
Yep.
They can get their wheelchair in there, then they can turn around and close the door. An automatic door, it slams into them. I have bruises all over it from automatic doors. Okay, they're our worst nightmare. Unless you're entering a building, but in a bathroom, they don't belong in a bathroom. Unless you have like this big hallway, it opens wide.
A palatial bathroom.
Exactly.
Right, but only in
You
those
know,
cases.
Brigham and Women's has one of those,
Right,
But not UMass. UMass, their emergency room, supposedly accessible bathroom, is not accessible. I had to go get somebody to open the door for me so I could get in, And that's not something we want to do.
Right.
We want to be able to go to the bathroom without disturbing anybody. Would you?
Right.
Would you
No.
have to go ask somebody?
Right, no,
You
absolutely.
know, so the whole point is to do things so that we don't have to go ask someone to assist us.
Right.
So in a library, you think about, well, they can just come ask us. No.
Right.
They want to, like the table, you don't need a sign saying we just need chairs that move easy.
Sure.
Yeah. Instead.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for providing us an initial foray into a better understanding, and we will certainly appreciate any
Okay.
future insights and help you could give to us.
Yeah, well, I hope so, I want it for everybody, because you have to remember you have people that have parents, aging parents, okay? and they're stuck at home all day long, okay, and they want to go somewhere.
Mm.
And libraries are familiar to them, okay? And they want to get away from the kids in the house, you know, their grandchildren, everybody else, they just want to go somewhere quiet, okay? And so a library is a nice escape. And if you make it so that they can come,
Right.
you know, you're going to have a lot more,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And I think that's important,
Yeah.
you know, because then you have seniors socializing more, and maybe they're not ready for the senior center, you know, and, you know, they want to, you know, be out there in the world, you
Right.
know, but, you know, they can't because of obstacles.
Yeah.
So if you remove those obstacles, then you get more, and you get more members, and that helps,
Yeah.
you know, so for usage and your budget.
Right. Right. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, isn't it based on how many people come in and the members that join?
Partially.
Yeah, I guess to
Degree. It's,
to
it's
a
nice
degree.
to know.
Part of the reason why we were put higher up on the list of receiving grant money was because we have really high numbers and really a lot of circulation.
Yeah.
So the state, in awarding the grant money to our community, said, you know what, we want you to be up sooner on this long list of 33 libraries, because clearly there's a demand.
Yes.
And because of the demand, you know, we really do need to make sure that we are attendant to all of the
Right.
concerns of the community. And, you know, it's one thing to know, oh, well, kids like to have beanbags to sit in, right? Or,
Right.
or it's nice to have the books down low so they can see them. But I think fewer of us have opportunities to have a conversation with someone who has your experiences.
Right.
And it's very helpful.
Now, also, when you think about kids, you have to also think about kids with disability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kids,
Right, yep.
and, or a kid that's in a stroller. You know, they're like, their mom doesn't really want to let them out yet because they're the wild child and will, you know, take off. One of those children. I had one of those. And, you know, so you cruise around with them and they learn to sit there and be good, you know. But if the books are too low, they can't really reach them.
Right.
So if you just bring them just a little bit up, so that it's like kids' waist level, you know, so that they can grab them instead of being on the floor, at floor level. Okay, that would really help. And moms would just love you for it because they don't have to bend down so low to get them out. Okay?
Yeah, I feel like that was mentioned at the MBLC meeting,
Yeah, that was mentioned for
Yeah.
not just kids, for
For
to
everyone.
not
Yeah,
have a
on the
lowest
floor- on the-
shelf.
on the-
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
on
or
the
a
ground.
really high shelf.
Yeah.
More,
Between knees and shoulders,
Right.
Yes.
not
And
between
it's like I said-
toes and
Right.
8 or 9 feet.
a lot of the books we weeded were from the bottom or
Right.
from the top.
Right,
That's
'cause
usually,
people just don't
that's,
reach for 'em.
right. 'Cause
Well, I
maybe-
know some, you know, everybody, there's always that expectation that if it's on the top two shelves, you're gonna ask for help. I mean, that's kind of an expectation, no matter what height you are, because they're high up, you know, and, you know, so I think that may be an expectation. But if you're in a chair, you know, you can reach pretty high, but not too high, you know. And so I don't know, by bringing them down, you know what I'm saying? Except in the kid area, you know. If that's necessary, you know, because we still, I mean, wouldn't you ask for help if you really wanted a book that was up there, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I asked for my son, who's inches taller than me, can you reach that thing in the back cabinet?
Exactly.
I mean, I can go drag a chair over, or, you know, climb up on the counter, but it's just easier to ask the
Right.
person standing next to me. So,
Exactly.
yes, I think that we,
But down at the bottom, asking somebody to bend over to get something, it's a little different.
it is a little different.
You know?
Yeah, we
Hey, can you
actually-
bend over? I want to check you out, you know? It's not appropriate, you know? So bending over is tough, you know? So if we raise everything up a little,
Yep.
and that would help too. So now when are I haven't seen really any plans for the library. I've kind of looked around.
You go to littletonlibraryproject.org.
Yeah.
You'll find the plans on there.
It's off of the main library webpage.
Oh, okay. So it's littletonlibrary.org?
Right.
Littleton Library Project.
Oh, library project, okay.
Or you can go to littletonlibrary.org and you can find it there too, but that's the direct link.
Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out, now, is there plans to renovate this and plans for a new building?
They
Or
haven't
just,
figured that out yet.
Yeah,
They
so
haven't.
if we do get to build a new building there, we would leave our current building, and then they would have to figure out what they're gonna do with this whole space. So they're in talks right now about what to do.
what is better?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, our application to the state, for which we were awarded $5.8 million, is to build a new building.
Oh, okay.
So if it turns out that the consensus is not to build a new building, we don't get that $5.8 million.
Oh, I see.
So there is definitely a financial incentive to be given what is truly free money. I mean, this is tax money that's been collected by Massachusetts taxpayers over the course of years so that communities can continue to fund new library spaces or renovated spaces. But when we initially looked into, do we build anew, do we renovate, do we expand, the least expensive option, in part because of what this building is, was to build a new
To
building,
build a
which
new
is
building,
why
right,
we,
yeah.
which is why the application was for a new building, because it was the most financially
Totally
responsible
feasible, yeah.
choice.
Yeah. It would have required renovating the whole thing, not just to make it
Oh, yeah,
ADA
right.
accessible, but
Exactly, the
also
whole
'cause
thing,
of
the
floor
town
weight.
hall,
Right,
everything,
right.
yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what we want with the new building.
Maybe one day. So maybe the town hall will expand this building, or?
There are a lot of options they're exploring. To be honest, I couldn't tell you.
They're considering the space needs of all the departments.
Right.
They're meeting
Mm-hmm.
now to
And-
figure that out.
The big question is, when will we, so we've been awarded the grant, but it's a provisional grant. So we don't know when we're actually gonna get it from the state.
Right.
And then when we get it, we have 6 months to go to town meeting to get the second, so it's a $13 million building, but the grant is only for 5.8. So the remaining 7 million would
Has to
have
come from the taxpayers, yeah.
Right, so we have to figure out, will the town approve it? And then if the town does approve it, that's when the town can really decide, well, what are we gonna do once they move out, you know?
Right.
So it could be that they expand, it could be that they build another building somewhere else for the town hall, and another building for senior center, and another building for park and rec. They could just expand everybody. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did notice that on each thing, you were talking about the footprint, that, each building, a new building will create another footprint for the town.
Right.
So how much is that weighed on, footprints? So,
I'm not sure.
I think at this point, there are so many unknown questions. I mean, for that matter, it's May, and we're not sure if we'll be told in July, your $5.8 million is waiting for you. You need to now go to the town and see if they will put their monies toward the new library. So, a lot will flow from how things fall into place.
yeah.
So it's hard to.
Oh, I know,
hard to
and it's
give-
gonna take the political climate too, to make people vote,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Okay, we need to continue to move through
Okay.
our agenda, but thank you for coming.
Okay,
And if you wouldn't mind, maybe writing down your phone number?
Oh, okay.
Certainly not to be forever
yeah, don't call.
forever recorded or anything, but it'd be helpful to be able to reach out to you and invite you to come back.
Okay, thanks.
And if you have your email, I'll send you a link to the plans.
Okay.
So you can find them easily.
Trying to think of my phone number. Okay, and only after 1 p.m.
Okay,
That's critical,
okay.
because I volunteer at night. I run a support group for people with spina bifida at night, so.
Do you want to also put your email
Oh,
down?
email.
So Katie can send to you some of the pertinent.
Can you do it on Facebook? Because I use Facebook
Sure.
more than my regular email.
Absolutely,
So, okay,
I'll
so you
message
have,
you. Mhm.
you have me on Facebook, so.
Right. Great, thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for coming.
thanks.
It's nice to meet you.
Oh, good
And you're
luck with
welcome to
everything.
stay if you'd like, but you're under no obligation to stay now that you've.
That's okay. I've had a really long day. I just came from Boston. so-
Okay, well, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
had
and
appointments
thanks, and I'm
today.
so sorry that you couldn't get in.
Oh, thanks. Now to leave, I'm in this upper end parking lot, because you know there's a hill.
Yeah, I would
And I can't
suggest
really get back up
Go
the
to the end
hill.
of the hall,
Okay,
push the button, go down to the first floor, push 1F to
1F.
get into the library.
oh, okay.
Or you can go down to the bottom floor, and then you can go out the back to the back parking lot.
Yeah, that's where I want to
Oh,
go,
then
is the
that's
back
what you go
parking
all the way
lot.
down.
This way, but because I don't want to be on the other side of the building, because I want to be on the upper side. There's two parking lots. One is
So,
higher than the other,
where
and
did
I'm
you-
on the upper one.
You're on the upper one?
Yes.
In the front?
In the front?
No, in the back of the building, there's two handicap parking lots. One is lower where that recreational area,
Yep.
that's where but I parked up here.
Okay.
So, and I tried to go in the town doors there, but they're locked.
Okay.
So,
Way at the end of the building you were?
pardon me?
You were at the far end of the building?
That's how I got in, but I didn't park there.
Okay.
So I can't get my wheelchair back up the hill.
You want me to go with you?
Do you want to, yeah, if
No
you can show
problem.
me, if you don't mind, because I can't get back the way I came. Unfortunately. It's too steep of an incline, so. And,
Thank you for coming.
oh, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
It was really nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet all of you.
Excuse me.
I have to say, this is the most active and wonderful town I've been in. Every place I've gone to, every business has been very friendly. They always greet all their customers, you know, and most of New England is not like that. So I was like, wow, you guys are so friendly here. I like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So moving through the
Have a
agenda.
good evening.
I had two things I can to add when I get back.
Okay. Two things. Looking at old business, library security. Sam?
So I still need to speak with Keith, because of the munis and town meeting and everything. It's been tough to get a hold.
Yeah.
But, so we're working on it. I will have something for you by the next June meeting. Also, we had discussed maybe having a police officer come and do another active shooter training. I prefer to wait until I hire this new library assistant that I plan to hire, so that we don't have to do it again. But, yeah,
Do they do an inactive shooter training?
not that I'm aware of.
Only active shooters.
Yeah,
Okay then. So you'll follow up with Keith.
yes.
Let's hold off on this next one because this was brought to our attention by Katie, who is being helpful. So any other old business that this was it, right?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so in new business, with respect to reorganization of the board, Mark is in Switzerland, and for various reasons, I think we need to table that until June. LCTV, is that also something that
I think
Katie
that's
wanted to
things
talk
that Katie
to?
wanted to talk
Okay,
about,
so we'll
yeah.
wait on that. The annual fund drive letter, which we have a copy of. This is from last year?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I wonder.
All right. We're gonna keep the same basic setup with inspirational quote on the top there, and we'll change that to 8th, yes?
I believe you were the one that wrote this one.
Oh, did I write this one? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll write it
Because when I
again.
found it, it was from your email.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna add something about possibly the
The 100,
thousand,
the
1,000.
500, 1,000
Right.
homes.
Yeah,
100,
1,000 by 1,000.
Yeah, if you want to see what Hopkinton
Oh,
did.
sure, yeah. Cool, okay. Okay, all right. Do you want me to hold on to this and incorporate it into a
If
new
you
draft
like.
of this? All right, how do the other members of the board think about getting behind a 1,000 by 1,000? I mean, what would be it's $1 million.
Right.
That could be raised
Right.
by 1,000 households pledging $1,000 over the course of time, or, we can take the check up front too if you have it. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts? Ambitious, impossible?
I think it's a little ambitious, because I don't know that I would necessarily feel like I could fall into that category personally.
Okay.
But I would support the idea of, going for it.
All right.
I didn't get to hear enough about it. I'm still hard of hearing. I'm working on that, but
Okay.
I need to see something in writing about it.
Okay, so apparently the Hopkinton Library had a promotional fundraiser where they asked 1,000 households in town to each contribute $1,000.
Over an amount of time.
Yeah, I guess they did it. It was basically $250 renewable for 4 years, and excuse me, says here, if $1,000 seems like too much for your household, please consider this. Right? So, could you give $5 a week? $5 a week adds up. $20 a month over 4 years equals. Can you guess?
$1,000.
$1,000, that's right. So, anyhow, they also mentioned, take a look at your library receipt the next time you borrow books, movies, CDs, et cetera, and see how much you saved by using your library. We have that feature.
Not anymore with the new system. It's apparently not possible.
Oh.
I have asked, and they're working on it, but apparently it's not something they can do, which is weird because this is a new system. You would think it would be,
Wow, you
but
would think it would be.
but
We had
yeah.
it for what, just a few months then?
yeah, when we had Evergreen, it was possible, but apparently it's not with this.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
that's okay. What's it? Don't look at your library receipt or your checkout thing because it's not there anymore.
We do have the library calculator on our website, though, if you
Oh,
want
that's
to
true.
insert
Yeah.
it yourself.
Yeah. Anyhow, so should
You're only
we?
looking at me. I'm interested in it, sure.
So we have the 8th annual fund drive letter that we will be sending out. I think the idea being what by way of content should be in the letter.
Oh, okay.
Other than an inspirational library quote, which we have every year.
Well, we should
you
mention
get-
that the grant was passed in this new fund drive letter,
The grant was received. Well, not received, but
but meaning
The
that the
grant was-
town
the grant
voted
was
on it
granted.
and passed it, yeah.
so are you speaking about doing both of those?
Well, we're going to send a fund drive letter.
Yes.
It's just a matter of what, by way of content, should be in there. Certainly, a review of what's happened in the last year is appropriate. Here this talks about how an application was sent. Well, the application was received and approved, and then we were put on high up on the wait list.
Well, we're just basically waiting for dispersal.
Correct, yeah, because the money is available. It's in
Yeah.
the bank. It doesn't need to be appropriated by the state by any budgetary process, so it's waiting for us. So now it really is just a matter of if the trustees want to get behind this appeal, I guess is the best word for it, then we should include that in this letter.
I still don't understand. Do you want to do both of those things or just one?
I think it's the same
You're holding
thing.
you're holding two papers in your hand.
Oh, this is just
I understand what that is. Are you talking about trying to do both of those?
I'm talking about taking the content
Of that?
of Hopkinton and incorporating it into the text of
They
the
combine it.
fundraising letter.
Where's
And
Hopkinton?
they do both separate.
That's not in there, sir.
Oh.
It's not in here?
She had a-
It's
One
$1,000
now.
homes, $1,000.
Oh.
The other one, maybe in the late fall?
Okay, so David's making the suggestion that we would send a letter with an update of where we've gotten to over the last year,
Just a suggestion.
and then potentially have a separate appeal
And run it 4 or 5 months later.
and run it later.
It's up to you guys.
We can,
What was
we
the
can
time-
as a board vote on these
What was the
things.
time frame? When are you thinking of this?
Well, the fundraising committee had talked to us about sending it out later, is that right?
Right.
Like in July?
I believe so. Yeah.
And we might know more information from the state right around that time. So maybe,
So does this come under the purview of our fundraising committee, both of those?
this would be the trustees' 8th annual,
Right,
right?
okay,
So I
so-
think that to continue on with the trend of us as trustees saying, can you be generous toward us? The first several years of this alluded to we're gonna need a new library at some point. And it's become more and more fine-tuned over the course of time.
Yep.
So we certainly can, when will we hear in July? Early July?
Middle of July, July 15th.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we could have something sort of bare bones, I guess, drafted, find out what happens in July, and then, or I can have two. I can have sort of a general one and a, hey, we just got the money one. And I don't know if that's going to help us better decide whether it's two separate or if
You combine it.
it's, yeah. So maybe we need to,
Table it.
maybe
But
we need to table it.
even if you combine it, there'll be two parts to it. Give us a donation or become part of 1,000 houses at 1,000.
Jenna?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that maybe we've got marketing people on the fundraising committee. I think we should ask them about the best time of year for these things to go
I
out.
think you're right, yeah.
Because if July, everybody's on vacation.
Yeah, but
You know-
I think by all means, we should do the fundraising letter, because it's become a tradition.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that,
Yeah, okay.
okay? As far as the other one goes, I just kind of thought it would run separate. That was just the natural way for me to think about that, rather than combining it. But that's what we have a fundraising committee for.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we check in with the fundraising committee on their perspective on optimal time?
Yeah.
And table this to look at. So Chris, could you get some insights from the fundraising committee on that? And we can circle back and talk about this again in June,
Which is almost July, actually, right?
which is almost
June, it's
July.
almost
June
July.
is almost
Just
July.
pointing out the fact that it's May
Well,
right
are
now.
we meeting in July? Would that affect?
Well, if we met in July, we'd be meeting at the beginning of July.
Okay, that's true.
So,
Fifth,
no,
right,
normally we
sports
don't meet in
Wednesday.
July. But, again, with this being a project which is, time is of the essence, I'm sure, from time to time, we will likely need to have meetings that come up, sort of, not last minute, but we might find out on a Monday, we really need to meet before the weekend, so let's meet on Thursday, we post it and meet then. Okay, so we'll hold off on that. Circling back to old business, Katie, every library register disabled voters at the library.
Yeah,
Share with us what that's about.
Well, I don't know a whole lot, but I got an email from every library inviting us to participate in their outreach program for disabled voters. And you really had to sign up to learn more. But it sounds like a good thing to pursue.
Okay, and is there a date that it's sort of a nationwide, everyone?
Yeah, it's nationwide.
Okay, and do you know when that is
Well,
happening?
then, no, it's like sign up now, we'll send you a kit.
Oh, I see. Oh, so,
And that's really all I know.
okay, so should we get the kit?
Yeah.
Can you request the kit?
I was gonna do it.
Can you request the kit?
Yeah, he
Excellent,
has
okay, so request the kit,
Mhm.
and we can open it together at our June meeting. Be surprised by what's inside. All right, so that's going to be ordered by Sam. All right, but we're sort of tabling that as well. Okay, and LCTV, Katie.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I reached out to Kirby about to just find out what was involved with filming if we have a library director come and speak to us. And he invited me to come to the studio, so I went to the studio and he gave me a very nice tour, and he pointed out that, it's LCTV is really a resource for us to use. And we can learn, the equipment. He's very busy, like, for the next 2 months, but he's, it's a resource for us to use as a nonprofit in town.
Yeah.
And we get a certain amount of airplay every week, and it can either just be this meeting replayed, or we can develop material, like the interview, we can do PSAs to updates. So I think we should.
We have our own like library channel inside of LCA.
So I think that, we should do that.
Great. So what's the next step to
Well,
do that?
I think Amy Tarlo Lewis, I think she said she was going to take this as something to organize.
Okay.
Because there's a long lead time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have to coordinate the visit, and then the questions for an interview, and
Right.
then talk about a PSA and write scripts, and, just,
Okay, all right, so, Amy is volunteering to be helpful to the library with respect to LCTV.
yes.
Great.
And I thought that, there's a lot of young kids
Yep.
that know how to do these things.
We should find those young kids.
Right, I mean, they teach a class at the high school,
I do.
and they all come over and learn the equipment. I imagine they're kind of busy, but,
Okay, but maybe in the summer they're less busy.
right, and we could hire somebody.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe,
So how would we get the list of the names of the students who already are doing, who already have an interest in this sort
From the
of thing?
director, Mark Crory.
You think he would
Well,
be
he's
able
a-
to?
He teaches them.
Oh, okay, so maybe
Yeah.
we can ask Mark.
Yeah.
Can you ask your students if they'd be interested in volunteering for the
Yeah.
library?
that's a great idea.
Okay, so, do you know Mark?
I'm on the board. for
Oh, you
LCT.
are. That's right. I
You're
forgot
on
about that.
LCTV?
Can you suggest that he let his students know that we are looking for savvy
foolish now.
savvy students?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Katie can send me an email as to what she'd actually like to have.
You will send him an email.
I will.
Okay. All right. So, email.
Surprise,
So
surprise.
Katie will email David, who will talk to Mark.
Okay.
All right. There's the flow. The flow on that.
LCTV.
All right.
Has the library ever used LCTV?
We used to, and then for some reason it stopped. I'm not sure why. But yeah,
Like a show.
yeah. Every month I would
Oh, really?
I would go on and I would talk about. It would be something they would invite me to do, and then kind of just stop one day.
So you're totally comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah,
All right.
What show were you on?
it wasn't a show. It was I would just sit there and talk about what was coming up.
Barbara McCrae would ask you questions.
Right.
and-
Sometimes Barbara McCrae would ask me. Usually it was just me just kind of reading from a script that I created, and then that was it. But for some
Wow.
reason,
We've got our own, screenwriter here. All right.
yeah, it was like the first year, and then after that, yeah.
We'll pull those scripts out.
Okay.
All right. All right. And then the very last thing is the library director performance review. And again, Mark is not here, and because it's not a time is of the essence needs to be done today, we'd like to put that off until June. Okay. All right. That gets us through our agenda. Do you want to mention that Chris and Katie will be at town meeting on Monday with a table, and certainly look for them if you're going to be at town meeting. All right.
Yep.
Coordinate outfits.
So I have two questions before we go.
Yes.
Okay, so, Katie, can you just send me an email what you're proposing to do,
Okay.
okay? All right, so that I can go to Mark and say, this is what we want to do. Did I
Okay.
get that right?
Sure.
Okay.
My sense was, I didn't know if Kirby, I had the discussion with him, so I didn't know, I assumed I would follow up with him, but since you are on the board, I will give you the information and,
Okay, I just need to know what you want to do, that's all.
Mhm.
And then we'll see if we can make that happen,
okay.
okay? All right, and my other question was for Sam. Okay, so Linda, we all know Linda was resigned from her position as a reference librarian. Are we going to have a reference librarian, or is that going away?
So reference librarians are sort of going away everywhere
Yeah.
because patrons just come and they ask
Go on the-
whoever's at the desk.
Right.
You know, they think we're all
Well,
librarians. and-
pre-computer, it used to be
Right.
different.
So, yeah, technically Annie does do some reference too.
She's the local history for sure,
Right.
'cause she knows it all.
And then I'm there to do reference too, so,
All right,
yeah, we're not
and
replacing.
then, so reading all of this, it looks okay because you're hiring another library assistant.
Right. And then
So we're not losing a position?
we're not losing a position, and then the librarian that the person I'm promoting to senior librarian, the senior librarian position is sort of a general catch-all, whatever is needed librarian. It's not
Understand.
specifically children's or YA or anything.
Yeah, it's just my thought that if, when we get the new library, okay, it will be bigger, and we'll probably need more people.
Mhm.
So we don't want to lose any positions before we have to go and ask for more.
Right, which is why I created this library assistant.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good job, thank you.
Yep.
I'm done.
All right. All set? Anything else? All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for watching.
Do we do motion
We have to make a
to,
motion.
Yeah.
motion to?
Adjourn.
What do we, withdraw?
Adjourn, yes.
Motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All right.
I hear
Moved
you.
and seconded. Anyone else want to adjourn?
Well, it's a vote, right?
Yes.
So,
All in favor?
yes, okay.
You're in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. And you are too?
Yes.
All right. All right.
We're adjourned?
We're adjourned.